Sorry about that. Needed to let the dog in, it started lashing down. So, there you go. I'm no pro on the camera either. So yeah, so I bought all this setup last year. Fixed it, and I basically first set it up on my Lossy DB LXE. And what I did on there, set it up with, instead of putting the camera on the top, because what I found when I actually put the camera on the top, and I attached the camera to the steering servo, because these systems don't come with a head tracking. Whatever anybody says to you, the Predator do not come with a head tracking built in. So what you have to do, you have to go out and buy additional things to add onto it. And I think you can get a tracking from Turnigy, which is like 80 quid, but it's one of those things you can just throw money after, and I don't really want to. I just want to be able to plug it, play, and without it breaking the bank. So basically I tried to adopt my own style of head tracking. So what I ended up doing was, inside, because this is a really nice view, it's got all, you know, almost like 360-degree view except for just the back bit. But basically I set the camera there in between the drivers. So where is actually, oh, the camera is actually down here, and it's a pan and tilt camera. So it's got the two servos, one to go left, right, and the other one to go up and down. So what I did, I turned the camera underneath so that it actually attached it to the steering, but when I actually turned the steering to the left, the camera went to the right. So pretty much they were going in opposite directions. So I tried going on YouTube, going through all of the scenarios of how to reverse servos, this, that and the other. There is a cable you can buy, yet again another thing you got to buy. But I went onto YouTube and I actually saw that you can actually take out the servos and actually resolder them. So you do the black to the red, red to the black on the motor, then the on the little LED, or not LED, the micro board, you actually swap the two outer wires opposite either side of the single one. And then basically what that does is reverse your camera. So reverse your servo. So actually when it was on there and upside down, it had actually reversed it so that when the wheels moved to the right, the camera also moved to the right, and vice versa. But another problem which I came into, that I've just realised, I'm really sorry, but you can actually see myself mirroring on the TV at the back, but hey ho, double dose of Mark Jordan at the shed. So basically, yeah, I wired it up to the steering, got it all going the right way, this, that and the other. But then the next problem I found out was that the steering camera was almost turning too quick for the wheels. So there again, imagine I was going in a straight line like that, slight turn, the camera would be facing it this direction, so I'd actually lose the front of the vehicle. And in the goggles, it was almost like you were panning round, but it was okay when you straightened up like that. And when you actually straightened up, or slight movements of, I don't know, 10 degrees or whatever, either way. But if you went any further, by attaching it to the steering servo with a Y connector, it was actually overturning. So what I had to do then, back onto YouTube, find out how I could do it. And then what I did, I actually bought a servo slower. And this is actually from Turnigy, and it was only about 8 quid. So basically what I did, where I've got the camera inside the Lossy, then it channeled down into the steering column with a Y connector. So basically I've got, imagine a Y connector, the one goes into your steering, then you've got 2 ports coming out. The one went into the camera, the other one went into the other free Y connector. So the one that actually went into the camera, I actually put a steering servo slower, and I was able to turn down the steering capacity of the servo. So actually when I turned, I could, the steering itself wasn't slowed down, but actually the servo that was spurred off. If you can get me with this, if you can keep along with me. I know it sounds like I'm probably waffling or not, but so basically when I steered, I slowed the camera servo slow enough to be in track with the wheels. So basically from where it was above, the wheels So that was the wheels, and this was the camera. Before it was like that. The wheels were slower, but the camera was too far. Now I managed to dial it in so that I've got the wheels, the camera, they turn at exactly the same time. Full to end point of the steering, and basically, so that sorted the problem out with the camera and the steering. So that was one thing which I managed to sort out. The next thing I found. I had that set on the Lossy DBLXE, which is a massive truck. Basically, I think it's about £33, I think, like that. So it's a bit of a beast. So it's a real ball ache to actually be carrying it around. So what did I do? I tried the X-Max. It is a 1.5 still, but it's a lot lighter. But the problem is, if I wanted to go crawling in the woods, this, that, and the other, the X-Max was just a bit too big. So what else had I got? I had to look around my collection, and then I ended up, I've got my Summit, my Traxxas Summit, and I've been running this. I'm going to just try and get it out if I can. I've been running this Traxxas Summit for years, and the thing with Traxxas Summits is, they're in a league of their own. There's no other RC around. Axial Yeti's got nothing on this. All those other kind of crossover RCs have got nothing on the Traxxas Summit. It's in a league of its own. It's still the best, and that's obviously why they've bought the new version out, because it was so good, and it's now getting on for 10 years old. But any real RC enthusiast has one of these in their collection, and actually it's just fantastic fun. So basically, this is a 1.8 anyway. The rest of them are 1.5s and stuff. So great in their own right, but not really. I know Toran on YouTube uses a X-Max for his long-range FPV and stuff like that. But the thing is, I love to bash the X-Max, and once it's got all this kit on, you don't really want to be bashing. So hence, that's why the X-Max comes into its own. I'm not going to. It's not swapped out to brushless. It's still the standard brushed motor, but it's running 4S lipo, so 2x2, as opposed to the NiCads. So it's still got a bit of juice, but it's not really a racer. It's a crawler come trial kind of thing. So which makes it really good for basically the FPV. So I'll show you how the setup I've got it on here now. So what I've got, so this is where it starts to get a little bit complicated, because the standard setup, I'm using the standard 5.8 GHz receiver with the FPV goggles, which is what it's done. But what you will find when you start getting into FPV is the fact that actually you, when you go through obstacles or around things, the 5.8 actually won't travel through buildings. So what you need to do is lower the now this is where I'm no expert, but you need to lower the oh, forgive me. See, this just shows, but I know the lower the number, like 1.2 is better, and it actually can penetrate through buildings and trees and this, that and the other. So I'm learning as you're learning, so forgive me, don't shout me in the comments. I'm trying to learn my way around it. So this is a 5.8 gigahertz receiver. So it doesn't go through buildings or trees. So what you end up doing is, as long as you line of sight, it will be fine for about, I don't know, 200 or 300 feet or so. But the standard FPV, let me have a look. The standard FPV antennas, which I've spoken to you guys before about, which are these little, where are they? Where will I find those? Let's see if they're in here. No, they're not in there either. It's typical, when you want to find something you never can. So, hey ho. Okay, but basically the Fat Sharks come with these little, are they in there? I wonder. No. Basically, Fat Shark come with little stubby aerials. And they're okay if you're flying up in the air, up to however many feet. They're absolutely fine. But when it comes, when you're on the ground, this band actually faces forward, and you've got like a band that goes like that, and it attaches onto your receiver on the back of your truck. That's all good and well when it can see each other, but when something comes into contact with that, it actually breaks it, and that's when you lose your point of view in this in the goggles. So what I did, next upgrade, I bought these polarized cloverleaf antennae, and basically what these do, if you mix these, I bought one for the receiver on the truck, and then also one I bought a helicopter pad for the goggles. So literally these, you know, the good thing is you don't need to swap frequencies or anything for these. So basically you just unscrew one antenna like so, and then you put the patch or helipad landing, I think they call it, onto there like so, and then that then goes onto your receiver, onto your car. So basically then what happens is that, as opposed to this one which is going straight up and just one dimensional, this spiral antenna, as you can see there, it actually gives a surround kind of reception. So basically if the car's behind you, or if the car's in front of you but behind something slightly, it gets a much better signal, because of the fact that this antenna here is a spiral antenna which is actually booming out the reception to be picked up by this antenna. It gives it a lot more clearer view through the goggles. So it's actually the first upgrade you should do with this, because actually the thing with FPV, the difference between FPV on the ground and FPV in the air is completely different, because you imagine if you're facing up, there's nothing to get in your way. So this is why these guys, when you buy the original FPV, you can get 1 to 2 kilometers away in the sky. And I was like, wow, that would be fantastic if I get on the ground. But it doesn't work like that. Maximum on your ground you can get about 600 or 700 feet, maybe more, before it starts distorting. And trust me, you set all of this up, but then it gets really frustrating, because you either run out of range on your pistol grip receiver, transmitter, sorry, or you run out of view on your camera. So basically what I've done now, I've just upgraded these to try. They're actually about 3 times the size of the original ones that come with the Fat Shark setup. So, and I tried these, and actually it's better than the antennae, the helicopter antennae, for some reason. I haven't tried it in the woods yet, but I will do that tomorrow, and I can do another video on top of this and let you know how we got on. So also what I have done now is I've actually ordered a new receiver and transmitter, and more you get into this, more you get sucked into it. If you watch all of the videos of the long of the FPV long range, what people tend to do now is they set up base stations. And base stations, what that means is you get a lower frequency receiver and a lower frequency box that actually goes on a tripod, and you use the these attachments. So basically as I said, I'll do another video when the other parts comes. So then you get these attachments, plug them into an external FPV monitor, and then from that monitor you link it to your goggles, and you will get a much better reception. One, because it's on a lower frequency, and then the other because it's set high, so you get a lot more clearance and you get a lot more range with it. So that's the plan of action anyway. Hopefully they should be here soon, and then I can do a setup view which won't be as long as this one. and then you can actually see. Just while I'm on this as well, I tried to set this up with a GoPro. Problem is, all the cables that I used, I just couldn't get the GoPro to actually work with the FPV. I went through all of the channels, tried to tune it in, changed all of the way that this goes into the receiver with the video in, video out, live, this, that and the other. I still couldn't get it to work, so I ditched that idea. I ran with the Fat Shark 700 camera, which is actually really good. It's good clarity, it's got good wide vision, and it works perfectly, and plus I can have it on the pan and tilt. But then what I did do is I put the GoPro on top with a bit of Velcro, and basically so that I drive with that and record with the GoPro. Pretty easy, and it works fantastic. And plus, any FPV camera, the maximum you will ever see is at about 420, which is nowhere near HD or anything. So basically the camera itself that you're using to actually drive is actually purely for knowing where you can go, whereas the HD, this is recording in 4K on the top, so all of the videos will be 4K coming to the YouTube. So that was that. Simple way that I attach the camera, I just cut a hole in the bonnet. I used a little bit of hot glue to seal all around, and then I've got a perfect, it doesn't shake, there's no vibration when I actually record as well. So that's the base of it. The next thing that I needed to upgrade is I run my most of my models, like my Ferraris and my bikes, X-Max, Lossy, on a DX4R Pro. Fantastic receiver. I'm left-handed steering, so that's why I use this one. But lo and behold, this isn't going to be any good. It can get you out to about 1,000 feet, which is probably about the same as the FPV can. So to get that next step along, I've actually got to upgrade my pistol grip to the old school flight controllers. You know, the ones with... I have one here actually. So basically, here's mine. So what I did, I just invested. Luckily enough, some guy on eBay was selling one quite cheap, so I'm hoping that this is going to do the job. It's the Spectrum DX5E. All I need it to be able to do is to actually have a spare channel or a trainer channel that I can actually flick the camera so that it can pan, or more so pan around as opposed to just tilted. If you want to add more channels, because the Traxxas is 5-channel, I think it's 5-channel, so basically because of all of the diffs. So I need to get an aircraft one that has got 6-channel and the receiver, so that I can do lots of different things. If I get the DX6i, it has a knob on there that could be separately tuned in purely for the camera to move, which would be quite nice to do. So basically you're driving straight, but then when you stop, you can actually use the knob to pan the camera and have a look around and see what's going. So that's the next investment. But so as I said, this is not really. It's just my opinion of getting into FPV and how far you want to sink yourself into it. I know you can spend an awful lot of money. You can start going down into the route of getting the OSD, or whether you go down the route of getting what's it called? Not Eagle. Sorry, forget it. Can't remember. But there's lots of things that you can do and spend lots of money on: cameras, equipment, this, that and the other. But I do this for a hobby, and I don't do it professionally. So I just want a kit that's kind of nice, does the job, and it doesn't cost the earth. So that's what I'm trying to bring to you today. And as I said, apologies, the video is a little bit long, and sometimes I may well have been waffling, but I tried to find out any kind of the best. As I said, the best video on YouTube is this Torin guy. But the problem is he's French, and I don't really speak French, so you can't really get the bones of what they're saying. So generally, this is what this video is to kind of answer the questions and put it out there on YouTube. And if anybody is in the same position as me, they may watch this video and say, well, actually, yeah, that was the problem I had. And then hopefully, because this has really been a voyage of discovery for me, and I'm still discovering. I'm no means any good at, you know, a pro at FPV. I'm still learning, but I'm loving it. I'm loving the fact that you can really do some good bit of filming with the FPV, and it is really good fun, and it's a whole new different ball game to normal RC. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I apologise if I waffled on too much. Don't slate me for it. If you want to see more, just subscribe, thumbs up, ask me any questions in the comments that hopefully I may well be able to shed any light on it for you. But there will be some more videos coming up once the setup is all ready, and then hopefully it'll all be set up and you'll be able to see what I was talking about. But in the meantime, thanks guys. Tune in, subscribe, all of that malarkey, and I'll see you next on the next issue of RC Shed. Alright guys, take care. See you soon.